guys, welcome. If you're new, my name is Benji. If you are not new, thank you so much for coming back for another video. So today's video, I had to think really long and hard about if I wanted to make this video or not, and I kind of went like, no, I'm not gonna make it. Then I was like, you know what, if it wasn't for other people sharing information online when I was going through this process and just people being very candid about finances, I don't think I would have gotten the information that I needed as quickly as of course I probably would have figured it out, but it probably would have taken a lot longer. I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna share. I made a video about a month ago letting you guys know that I was divorced. But in that video, I talked to you guys about how, finances were a big part of, why I felt like I was okay after my divorce. And a lot of you guys asked about, for me to talk more about finances. I also made some vlogs where I touched on a little bit of what I did, just like a little bit about finances, and I got also a lot of questions about that. Now, I want to preface this video by saying that I am not a financial advisor. I'm not a financial professional. Heck, I probably shouldn't even be giving financial advice. This is not financial advice. This is just what I did that worked for me, and I feel like could potentially work for someone else. And I'm all about sharing, especially with anyone that might be going through a divorce, that's man or woman. Yeah, so I just want to share with you guys some of the steps that I took in order to be in a better financial position and to be really, really okay. Now, am I rich? I am not. Could I be doing better? Yes, I could be. Could I be budgeting or doing a lot better? Yes, I can. But so far, I'm not in the streets, so I would say I'm doing pretty good. So yeah, enough rambling. I have notes and I have my phone. These are all the actual notes that I took when I was trying to figure out my life after, we decided to get a divorce. And I was like, oh shoot, I have to get things together. So, okay, a little bit of background story. I have been with this person all of my adult life pretty much. So, and he was someone who was very financially savvy. So I did not have to worry about anything finances in my relationship at all. I knew what our finances were. Like I knew what savings account we had, what, how much we made, all of that. I knew. I wasn't like dumb. I wasn't like, oh, I don't want to know anything. I knew about all those things. I just didn't have an active role on putting away the money and investing the money or all of that. Savings account, I didn't have anything to do with that. Now, I would say that I'm going to be very accountable. I was very financially irresponsible when we first met. I became a bit more responsible as time went on because I just was with someone who was very financially responsible. So it rubbed off on me and he taught me a lot of things. But yeah, I could have been in a much better financial position if I had just used my money a little bit better. So with that being said, once we decided to get a divorce, I was on my own. I had to figure out all my finances myself. Now, I understand that some people, when they get divorced, really have nothing. Some people are stay-at-home moms and they have really nothing. I really don't know how to advise you there because I've always had a job for most of I think there was a couple of times where I was in between jobs when we were in a relationship, but I have had a job for most of my relationship. So I've always made my own money. Although I didn't pay for any of the bigger bills in the home, I paid for like smaller things. I've always made my own money. So if I was a little bit more responsible financially, I could have put a lot of money away. Needless to say, I was not. Your girl was shopping. Your girl was living life. Acai bowls, Pilates classes, yoga, vacation. Girl, anything that I wanted, I got. Okay? So, I don't regret it because I had a good time. But, yes, be more financially responsible and you won't be in this predicament that I'm in right now. Okay, first thing that I did was I compiled all of my debt and all of my bills. I wanted to look at all the debt that I had and all of the bills that I had. I wanted to make sure that I was okay paying all of them myself because I hadn't paid for most of my bills for a really long time. So I literally have a notes app on my phone where I wrote down all my bills and exactly how much they were every single month. I wrote those out. I also broke down how I paid them or how I would pay them, which paycheck would cover what, and then I went like that. So I was like, okay, looks like I make enough money to cover my bills, which is great. There were also a few things that I looked at my debt as well. I pulled all my credit card debt and all of my student loans. I still had student loans and I still had credit card debt. Yes, I know I shouldn't have any of those. I should have paid those off, but it is what it is. I was what I was. I had credit card debt. I had student loan. Look behind me. It's Chanel and Gucci. Okay, I was not the biggest financially responsible person. Okay, so once I pulled all of my credit card debt and all of my student loans, I knew that I had to pay this shit off now. Like, I knew something needed to shake. I could not afford to pay all my bills and do everything I need to do and put money away and feel financially stable and have all this credit card debt and all this student loan on top of that. Could I have done it? Sure. Would it have crushed my spirit? Yes. I would not have been able. I would have been living paycheck to paycheck if that was the case. And I was like, I'm not about to do that. I decided I needed to pull all the money that I had together. So I had to look at all the money that I had. I didn't have a personal savings. I had like my savings that we had together. So that money was split. I would say we didn't have as much as we could have in our savings just because we had just purchased a house in a very expensive part of Houston, which was a great financial decision. It is looking to be a really lucrative financial decision. Owning property around 2020 where percentage rate was really low was a really great move. But that means that we had to start again from like zero savings. So we didn't have as much bulked up as we did before we purchased our home because most of our money went towards closing costs, down payment, purchasing all new appliances. It was a brand new build, so there was no appliances in here. And in the area time that it is, the sellers, like the contract, whatever, the builders don't put like a ton of stuff in here. And so we had to get a lot of stuff ourselves. Anyway, so there wasn't as much money in the savings as there could have been, so I was a little panicky about that. So okay, took whatever I had in the savings, and then I was like, okay, I have that. And then I started thinking about my 401k. Now this is where my advice is starting to get a little iffy. Any financial advisor would tell you, do not touch your 401k. I'm not a financial advisor and I'm touching it, okay? I had a pretty cushy 401k. I had been in my job for 5 years, maxed out my 401k contribution. I believe my company matches up to 5%, and I've been contributing 5% the whole time that I was there. And I think it was even a point where I was doing 7. Don't ask, okay? I was doing, listen, for the plot. That's what my life has been. I'm doing it for the plot. So I had quite a bit saved in my 401k, and I touched it. I was like, I know I'm gonna pull out my 401k. Like I said, it's a big no-no. It's not a no-no to me. I'm not guaranteed to live to retirement. I'm living right now, and I had a plan on what I wanted to do. So I ended up pulling out partial of my 401k. I did not pull out the total amount. It was not a loan. I pulled it out, and I knew that I was gonna get taxed heavily for it. I took the hit. I was like, I need to be in a really good financial place. I'm gonna pull out this 401k. So pull that out, and I pulled together the money that I had gotten half of in my divorce, and then the money for my 401k, and I pulled it into one. But I now had to look at how I could decrease my expenses every month. So how I did that was I canceled everything that I didn't need. And girl, your girl was a subscription girl. Like, I had subscriptions for everything, okay? I really had to go in and cancel everything. One of my biggest things that I had to cancel was my gym membership. I belonged to like a super nice gym here in Houston. It was super exclusive. Like, they only allow so many people in, and if you didn't get your membership, if they didn't have any slots available, you had to wait. So love working out there. That's how I felt back in love with working out, and I had to cancel it. It was just way too expensive. I was able to go through my job, and we had a system with my insurance that my insurance that gave me a really good deal on a gym. I was unwilling to do a Planet Fitness or anything like that, so I went with Lifetime, which is still really nice, but my job pays for pretty much half of my membership. Something you should be looking at. A lot of jobs do this. A lot of people don't take advantage of it. So I did that, and I canceled a ton of subscription. I was able to save close to about $200 a month that I was just randomly paying for stuff that I just randomly didn't need. So once I was able to really get a good rein on my spending, I then decided, okay, the idea was to take the money that I had pulled together, put some in savings, and put the rest to pay towards my student loan and my credit card bills. Thankfully, I didn't have a ton of credit card bills, and I didn't have a ton of student loans. It was still a pretty penny, but it wasn't anything that wasn't achievable. But I started thinking about it, and I was like, if I pay all this off, I'm taking a big chunk of my liquid money and just paying this off. And what if something happens? Like, what if I need this money? And I started panicking, girl. Like, I was hyperventilating. I wasn't sleeping at night. And I'm the type of person that I have to figure it out. Like, I need to figure stuff out. So I started thinking to myself, I can't take all this cash and just pay all this debt with. So what's the next best thing that I can do? So I started researching, and this is where sharing is so important. Girl, I got on TikTok, I got on YouTube, and I started listening to a lot of financial advisors. I started listening to a lot of financial podcasts, and I took about a week to do this. I wanted to make sure that I was making the right decision. And from just listening to different podcasts and advisors and things like that, and getting bits and pieces of information from here and there, I realized that there is such thing as personal loans. You can take a personal loan. It's a very low interest. So I was able to check 3 different places. I can put the name of the places that I checked on here for you guys, in case that's something you guys are interested in. I checked 3 different financial places. I was able to check before. I was able to check and see how much my interest would be before I actually applied for it. I ended up finding a loan in the single digits. I don't want to say what it is because it's really going to depend on your credit. And at the time, I had a 775 credit. So with my credit score, I was able to get a literally single digit personal loan, and it was a very low digit, and I was so excited. The other 2 places were insane. They were giving me like higher numbers, and I was like, thank God I found this specific place. And I will circle the place that actually gave me the better interest rate. So I was like, okay, so if I can get a personal loan that will cover all of my student debt and all of my credit card debt, which, I mean, student loan, my interest rate was very low, and I owed very little on that, so that wasn't a big deal. But my credit card debt was what worried me, because the credit card debt, you guys know, your interest rate can be anywhere from 18% all the way to like 28%. So it's just high. It's bad. It's bad to have a high like credit card debt, because it just siphons money out of you. So I was like, cool. So I was able to get the loan, and I literally got the loan the very next day. They had it in my account. And I was like, cool. So what I did at that point was I took the money that I got from the loan, and I paid off all of my debt. All of my debt was paid off. Complete. I paid everything. I didn't even think about it. I was like, before this money becomes too sweet in my account. Paid it off, paid all my credit card debt, paid off my student loan, paid off anything that I still had. Anything that I had still was paid off. And after that, I now took the money that I had pulled, that original money that I took the money that I had, and I split it into different accounts. Now, I only really had one account this whole time. I had an account with, a bank account with Chase, and that's where my check comes and everything, and I just never had another account. But I heard about high yield savings accounts. It's basically an account that you can open that would give you a higher interest rate on your money, instead of just your money sitting and earning nothing. So I looked at a few different banks. I looked at Goldman Sachs, Goldman Sachs, I believe. I looked at, I forgot the name of that one, but I ended up going with Capital One. Capital One just worked better for what I wanted, and I heard a lot of good things about Capital One, and I was like, listen, I'm just gonna go with Capital One. Seems a lot more simple, and they have like actual stores, so if something happens to my money, I can go somewhere. But you know, these days you'll show up there and the bank will be locked, closed. Okay, so I went with Capital One, and I also opened another account with Navy Federal. And my idea behind opening a Navy Federal account, I always heard that Navy Federal has like really good interest rate for things. And I was like, listen, I'm about to be a single girl, okay? I might need to buy a car, and I might need to buy a house and everything. So let's make sure that I have an account and I can start building some type of history with them in case I ever need to tap into getting that interest rate. So, okay, so I took the money that I had piled up. I put some of it in my high yield savings account. I put some of it into my short-term Navy Federal account for expenses that I would need. And then I put the rest of it in the stock market. So I'm still a baby stock market person, and it makes me very nervous to put a large amount of money in there. I am working towards that. I just can't, So I will say most of my money is in my high yield savings account because I want to look at it. I want to see it. I want to know that it's safe. My money is not safe in the stock market. Like, I don't have money to be playing like that with the stock market just yet. Now, I automated most of my bills. So most of my bills come out automatically because I'm not about to play with no late fees, okay? Before I was playing with late fees. I did not want to play with late fees anymore. And I realized a lot of places will give you a discount if you do automated payment. So from my internet to my phone bill, everything is automated. It comes out automatically. So I need to make sure I have money in there at all times. But here's the thing. I do not have my bills coming out of my checking account. They all come out of my credit card. We're going to talk about that. Pause that for just a second. Remember that. We're going to put that in a little box. Let's close that for a second, okay? Because you're thinking about, girl, you just put off your credit card. What are you talking about? Pause, okay? I know what I'm doing. So, now, another thing that I did was I put myself on a budget, but I give myself a realistic budget. I know me. I like to shop. I like to eat. I like to be out with my friends. If I put myself on an unrealistic budget, I am going to be saddy patty. I'm going to be sad, okay? And I don't want to be sad. I would rather not have the best, tightest budget and be happy than to have a tight budget and to be sad, okay? I don't want to do that. If I want to go and get myself a little something nice, like a little perfume, I want to be able to do that. So when I did my budget, I kept that in mind. So here is how my budget works. I get my paycheck to my account, and from that paycheck, I have a specific amount that comes straight out of my paycheck that goes... this is after my 401k and everything. It goes straight into my high yield savings account. So I have a specific amount from my paycheck, which I set it up, that goes straight into my high yield savings account. It does not even see my checking account at all. So that money is already going into my high yield savings account. Once the money hits my checking account, things happen, okay? Part of it is going to go into my emergency right now fund, which is my Navy Federal. Part of it goes automatically into the stock market. I have it with Fidelity. You can use whatever. There's lots of other websites for investments. Part of it goes directly into my Fidelity account to be invested. I only do index funds. We're not going to get into that. I do index funds. I don't purchase like specific funds. So part of it goes into that, and the rest of it goes towards my bills and my necessities, like what I'm going to be spending until the next paychecks. That's how I have my budget set up, where I feel like I can still breathe, I can still enjoy my life, but I'm taken care of. The biggest thing here was to not use all of my liquid cash to pay off all of my debt. It was finding that loan that gave me a very low interest rate loan, which I've incorporated into my bills, which is 50% less than I would have been paying. I'm paying 50% less on that loan that I would have been paying all my credit cards. Let that sink in, baby. Like, let that sink in. So glad I thought of that. It also boosted my credit up to 800 because I paid off a bunch of things and I opened a brand new account. So right now my credit is sitting at an 805. I really want to get more into like the 810s. 810s. I feel like I'll be more comfortable with that. And I've gotten so good at credit card and using my credit cards. This doesn't work if you're going to be putting in a ton of money on your credit card. You need to keep that balance low, baby. Like, if you know you're not going to be keeping that balance low, this is not going to work for you. But I pretty much keep the balances. I pay off my credit cards every single month. Started really playing around with different credit cards and knowing which ones to use. Like right now, I've just opened American Express card, and it gives me a ton of points. I put everything on that card. Everything goes on that card, and I get a ton of points to travel, to do other things with. So get into the credit card game because you can get so much free money and free perks from that. It is incredible. So that's why I have all of my money coming out, all of my bills that can be paid with a credit card are coming out of my American Express card, and I pay off my cards every single month. The big thing is here, you cannot carry a balance. I feel like that was a lot of information. I'm pretty sure I left some stuff out, but I feel like I gave you guys all of my tips and tricks. There's so much tangents that we can go into, like different high yield savings accounts, different interest rates, different personal loans, and all of that. Just make better financial decisions now. You don't have to be financially savvy to make good financial decisions. Just make good ones now. And if there's one thing that I can caution you guys about, it is credit card bills. Like, please be careful with your credit card bills. It is not your money. If you cannot pay it off at the end of every month, don't spend it. That means that you need to reassess your budget and you need to go lower in your budget. So I hope this helped. If you guys have any more questions, if there's anything that you want me to go a little bit deeper into, go ahead and leave a comment down below. I hope this video helps some of you guys. I don't know who it's going to help, but I just know that these types of videos really helped me when I was going through this. So yeah, I hope this video helped y'all, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.